So Carl Froch knocks out George Groves with a terrific right hand punch in the 8th round. Groves was nearly knocked out cold. This fight went pretty similar to how I expected it to go. The fight started off very cagey, and I thought for the first 6 or 7 rounds, Carl Froch was maybe just getting the better of it in terms of at least his body language and how comfortable he was in the ring. And I felt that George Groves was gassing as early as the 4th or 5th round. But there was a big turning point in the 7th round, I believe it was the 7th, where George Groves appeared to stun Carl Froch with a couple shots. And then he won the 7th round quite well. Then in the 8th round, George Groves seemed to be doing even better. And he was really starting to get on top of Carl Froch. He was really making Froch miss, make him pay. But all he did was make one mistake. And he allowed Carl Froch to get in with the right hand, and that's all Carl Froch needed. And he stretched George Groves out. George Groves was absolutely flat on his back, completely gone. There's no way he could have continued from that. He did try and get up, but the guy was in a seriously bad way. And it was a tremendous one-punch finish pretty much from Carl Froch. Great finish to the fight. Froch, as I expected, he boxed better from a tactical point of view. It's not like his technique was any better or anything like that, but tactically he was more cagey. He wasn't rushing in all the time. He was taking his time. He was using his longer arms, because Carl Froch has got very long arms. He was using his longer arms and touching Groves with that jab. So I expected that. The first, 6 or 7 rounds of the fight is how I expected it to go. But strangely enough, just when Groves was starting to come on, and he was improving in the 7th and 8th rounds, and I expected Groves to maybe nick the first half of the fight and then Froch to come on strongly in the second half of the fight, which obviously he did with a knockout. But at the same time, I didn't expect to see Groves starting to take over in the 7th and 8th, and he was. But that knockout punch was a terrific shot, and it's been said for a long time in boxing gyms or what have you that George Groves doesn't take a great shot. But he hasn't really been hit that often with clean punches in his career for us to really see it that much. I know there was the Kenny Anderson fight and whatnot, but other than that, we haven't seen Groves caught that many times with clean shots. He's managed to stay away from, taking big concussive punches for the most part. But here we saw him caught with a clean right hand from Carl Froch, and that's all that Froch needed. Groves was completely gone. And those people who said that Groves missed his opportunity in the first fight were correct. He had the element of surprise in the first fight. And that's what I always felt. I felt that if he was going to do a number on Carl Froch, it was going to be the first time around. That was the best time to do a number on him. Going into the second fight, I always felt this was going to be a closer fight. I didn't see him, dominating Froch and giving Froch all the problems that he gave Froch the first time around, at least not in the first, half of the fight. Maybe down the stretch, he might have accumulated a lead and stuff like that. That's what I thought. And I actually, thought Groves might have a chance of nicking it on points. But, Froch got through with a right hand. Hats off to Carl Froch. Big rivalry. It wasn't the greatest fight, to be honest, but it was a great finish. And Carl Froch did his thing. He ended the matter in dramatic fashion. Could there be a rematch? Possibly, but knowing how weak, Carl Froch is going to look at George Groves' chin now as extremely weak. And knowing how weak it is, I don't think that Froch would be worried about stepping in the ring with George Groves, and I think Groves would be more worried about stepping in the ring with Froch after something like that. So hats off to Carl Froch, man. That was a great win. He boxed much better the second time around. As far as how the fight was scored, maybe if you scored the fight after 7 rounds, you could have scored it either way, to be honest with you, because a lot of the rounds were so close. Even though Carl Froch's body language was better than George Groves' body language, in terms of punches landed, clean, effective punches landed, there was very little to separate them in most of the rounds. So you could give it to pretty much whoever you want. So you could have had Groves up slightly. Amir Khan had Groves up slightly, apparently. You could have Groves up slightly. You could have Carl Froch up slightly. You could have Carl Froch up a lot. It just depends what you like in terms of their work. Not many clean punches landed from either man. There you have it, though. So hats off to Carl Froch. Great performance, great knockout. And he goes on to finish his career with, maybe some bigger fights down the line, possibly a rematch with Andre Ward, who knows. So yeah, drop your comments below. Let me know how you felt about the fight and where you see both these fighters going from here in their careers, yeah? So drop your comments below. This is Hatman, I'm out.